Storm Isha, horror 107 miles per hour gales claims third victim as winds topple trees and spark travel chaos, now second storm to hit. Storm Isha's horror 107 miles per hour gales have claimed their third victim after winds toppled trees and sparked travel chaos around the country. Forecasters are now warning Brits should start bracing for Storm Jocelyn, which is set to bring 70 miles per hour gales from tomorrow. The warning comes just hours after Storm Isha claimed the lives of 3 men, aged in their 80s, 60s, and 40s. An 84-year-old man died after a Hyundai crashed into a fallen tree on the A905 in Fife, eastern Scotland at 11:45 p.m. last night. The OP was the front seat passenger in the car, whose other occupants were not injured. Pronounced him dead at the scene near Grangemouth, and are now pleading for drivers to come forward with dashcam footage. Just 2 hours before, a man in his 60s died in a crash involving 2 vans and a fallen tree in Limavady, County Londonderry. Local councillor Ashleen Skenning told the BBC, to wake up and realise that, as a result of a tree coming down, someone lost their life is just devastating. It was cruel. The weather was cruel. You can see, even as I was coming here today, there's so many roads closed, so many trees down. In Ireland, a man in his 40s also died in a storm-related crash after his motor skidded on a flooded road in County Mayo. He was today named as Jimmy Rowe, as his family shared their heartbreak. Jimmy, a dad of 5, was said to have just dropped his daughter off before the horror crash unfolded. Met Iran has this lunchtime named Storm Jocelyn, the second storm in 48 hours. Strong winds and heavy rain are forecast throughout tomorrow and Wednesday. An amber weather warning has been issued for northern and western Scotland from 6 p.m. tomorrow until 8 a.m. on Wednesday. There is a good chance of power cuts, damage to building, travel delays, road closures and life-threatening waves, the Met said. It comes after howling Storm Isha winds wrought havoc all over the UK overnight. A rare danger to life red weather warning was in force for northern Scotland from 1 a.m. until 5 a.m. this morning, as stranded passengers anxiously awaited updates. Shocking images emerging this morning show an entire greenhouse blown onto railway tracks in Westgate-on-Sea, Kent, while trees have smashed down into cars in Crawley and Linlithgow. Scots in the red warning zone were told to expect huge waves, power cuts, damage to homes and dangerous flying debris. Transport Scotland said a gust of 107 miles per hour was recorded on the Tay Bridge between Dundee and Fife. Tornado Watch said there was a high chance of twisters flinging 20 mm hailstones yesterday afternoon. British Airways said that it cancelled 40 flights across the UK as winds peaked at 99 miles per hour. Planes struggled to land at several airports, with one Ryanair flight from Manchester to Dublin diverted to Beauvais in northern France. Travel chaos. Another Ryanair flight from Stansted to Newquay was reportedly diverted to Malaga on Spain's Costa del Sol, according to Flight Radar. Ryanair said, due to Storm Isha, some flights to / from the UK and Ireland yesterday and today have regrettably been cancelled or delayed. We are working hard to reaccommodate affected passengers and advise all passengers due to travel to / from the UK or Ireland today to check their Ryanair app for the latest updates on their flight. Ryanair sincerely apologies to all passengers affected by these storm-related disruptions, which are entirely beyond our control and have impacted all airlines operating to and from the UK and Ireland yesterday and today. BBC presenter Holly Hamilton said her flight from Heathrow to Belfast just gave up trying to land after a pretty terrifying attempt. Posting on Twitter last night, Holly added, "Scary biscuits above Belfast. I've never been as happy to see Manchester Airport. The M6 is closed northbound between J43 and J44 near Carlisle after 2 lorries overturned. Howling winds forced the closure of the Tay Road Bridge, M48 Severn Bridge and the A66 in Durham and Cumbria between the A1 and the M6. A 19Ts flyover and A628 Woodhead Pass in Derbyshire were among stretches closed to high-sided vehicles. A road in Oldham near Manchester was also closed after the front of a building collapsed onto the street. A major road through Rishworth Moor in Yorkshire was shut this afternoon after a lorry was blown over by strong winds. The A672 was shut in both directions by West Yorkshire Police after the lorry was upended. The road, close to the M62 motorway, goes through Rishworth and Saddleworth Moor. It is unclear at this time if anyone has been injured or when the road will be reopened. Emergency services scrambled to AFC Bournemouth's Vitality Stadium after a flailing metal bar smashed through a lorry's windscreen as it left the ground. A number of trees in Northern Ireland made famous by the TV series Game of Thrones were felled by the storm. Work was being carried out this morning to clear up the Dark Hedges site in County Antrim. In Lincolnshire, shocking footage captured a driver's lucky escape after a roof was blown onto the road. An entire greenhouse was also blown onto train tracks in Westgate-on-Sea, Kent. Wild night. More than 10,500 homes were still without power today in northern Scotland after trees toppled onto overhead lines. Almost 8,000 more homes in Cumbria were also without power, which is not expected to be restored until 5 p.m. tomorrow. Operations at the Sellafield nuclear site have resumed after they were suspended during the storm. ScotRail cancelled all rush hour services this morning as workers scrambled to make the operators' lines safe. Network Rail suspended its Scottish services all morning. A spokesperson added, "Hundreds of engineers are already out, armed with chainsaws and cherry pickers to remove and repair. Once done, route-proving trains will be dispatched before passenger services can restart." Wild night, but passengers and railway staff have been kept safe. "We will work tirelessly to get the railway back on its feet as quickly as we can." Met Office also placed a yellow wind warning, which will cover North Wales, Northern England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, from 4 p.m. tomorrow until midday on Wednesday.